Several missiles have hit the centre of the Afghan capital of Kabul this morning. Local police say the Taliban's behind the attack. No injuries reported there. The missiles landed in the diplomatic district of Kabul, where government buildings are situated. Some of them hit the presidential palace, and one reportedly struck the US embassy. The assault happened as the country's president, ironically, was giving a holiday speech. The Taliban has been increasing its military activity there lately, with another assault carried out by the group only yesterday, Monday. Taliban fighters ambushed 3 buses then, taking almost 200 people hostage. Later, Afghan security forces reportedly freed nearly 150 of them. The bus raid came shortly after the Afghan president had offered a ceasefire during the Muslim holiday Eid al-Adha that started today. Daniel Hawkins has more.
The 3-month ceasefire proposed by President Ghani is not the first such motion in Afghanistan. It probably won't be the last. It has the blessing of the US. Time for peace has a better ring to it than war on terror. Regardless, the Taliban have firmly rejected it, instead continuing a countrywide military offensive.
I saw my friend dying. He was among 13 people, including children and women, who were killed during an airstrike last night.
There is no attention from the government and no facilities for the residents. Dead bodies are still on the roadsides. I've also been injured.
Militant commanders say the truce will only benefit the US-led forces. They've also been clear no peace will be possible in Afghanistan as long as the foreign occupation carries on. And as coalition forces approach their 17th year of operations in the country, how simple things seemed all those years ago.
We acted, and the Taliban no longer is in power in Afghanistan, which is not only good for the security of the free world, it is incredibly good for the people who suffered in Afghanistan under barbaric rule.
A decade and a half later, the Taliban control large swathes of territory and are able to strike at security forces and civilians almost at will. Afghanistan has been a battleground for various militant groups, something the US views pragmatically.
The Taliban are fighting ISIS, and we encourage that because ISIS needs to be destroyed.
The Afghan question has forced the US to sway between a military solution and negotiations with the Taliban. With such hot-cold rhetoric from the White House, it's hardly surprising the possibility of mediation has taken years to arise. It's been quite a balancing act for Washington.
We have the Taliban willing to come to the negotiating table.
There's no talking to the Taliban. We don't want to talk to the Taliban. We're going to finish what we have to finish.
I want to reinforce to the Taliban that the only path to peace and political legitimacy for them is through a negotiated settlement.
The Taliban trembles as they hear our approach.
There is interest that we've picked up from the Taliban side, even going before the Kabul conference.
The Taliban cannot win. Their choices are to reconcile, live in irrelevance, or die.
In September, Taliban representatives have been invited for talks in Moscow alongside government officials, bypassing the United States. If successful, these could become a step towards the longest ceasefire of them all, a permanent solution to a decades-long cycle of violence, something that today looks as distant as ever.
Yeah, Daniel Hawkins there. Well, we discussed the prospects of the talks between the Taliban and the Afghan government with investigative journalist Nicholas Davis and also political analyst Intizar Khadim.
The Afghan government just recently understood the crucial role by the other superpowers in the region. Russia, of course, is one of the strongest countries. Russia can play a pivotal role in mediating between the Taliban and the Afghan government. And everybody in Afghanistan is hoping that something good will happen after the conference in Moscow. And then Russia is mediating. Taliban will be also invited. The Afghan government could be also a participant of the conference. So there could be some more progresses in Afghanistan, and because the negotiation and the interaction between the Afghan government and Taliban is just on the very fast speed.
The Taliban have obviously, on their side, have concluded that, they need to apply more pressure to force the U.S. to talk to them. In a sense, it's ironic because, you know, the U.S. have always talked about applying enough military pressure to bring the Taliban to negotiations, to the peace table. That has always been the official U.S. policy. But in fact, it's the Taliban who are doing that, and probably have more chance of success